GameBI.com. This is John's reports for the 1st of May. Well, there was no surprises ending the month. If we go, let's take a look at the daily real quick because, yeah, right there, MBI weight. That tells you everything. There are just no shorts available. And, there was some, speculation back and forth. And, you could argue there was some unexpected results from the whole AI situation and some of the meta readings and things like that. But I mean, they're spending a fortune. They're saying that most of the GDP for uh, growth, at least for the quarter, was all AI related. So that's an interesting one. Would not be surprising given the fact that at the end of the day, what have you got? Super high gas prices, which slowing the consumer, but all this capex spending they're doing on supposed infrastructure. But then again, that sort of belies a problem because you're seeing more and more of these AI centers being dropped and not allowed in certain communities. So they're way behind on their projections of everything they were going to be doing. Um, but that doesn't change the devaluation situation, and that is definitely the primary mover at this particular stage, whether people recognize it or not. It's not really worth trying to debate that one. They've been so wrong on their economics for so long. It's not even funny. From a 50K chart, you can see we had the early morning discombobulation. This was all the post earnings revelations. We started a brief dip, and that was a quick turnaround to uh, green crossing red, and red really never dipped very much on the DOC here. From that, we had magenta over yellow pretty early on, and then it was just boom and never looked back. So that was pretty straightforward. Intraday is what the post market trade looked like. We ended up with our short configuration that turned around to, your classic ones. It's the green rising above red from the deep move, red moving above the white, orange dip below green, and you're off to the races. And for the most part, that's just following that MBI red straight up through and across, and then it starts to level out and not look so happy. And then you get your DOC spread, and that matches with MBI white over the red right here. And, that's a simple enough trade as it is, just trading MBI white over red. And you just follow that along until, you get your inversion. And then, boom, you can flip around and go the other direction. It did that for a while, just to mark those to shows how that goes. And then we ended up with the big up move. Slight down, traded back and forth. Finally got another buy configuration in there. That one lasted pretty much all the way towards the end, and yeah, it was pretty straightforward. So excellent start to finish out April months. Now you got a little bit more of your complications to develop. You know, Bitcoin still holding up fairly decent, but well off of its highs. Same situation for gold; is not really moving yet anywhere. The euro super strong because why? They're paying so much more for all their oil, and that they're going to have to be shuttering, flights, talking about rationing fuel, but everyone wants a euro, not a dollar. Makes a lot of sense, but that's not the point. The point is they've got to keep it pumped because if they don't, then what do you do? It's a major partner of trading. You need them to at least have some fluidity and ability to do it. And plus, they're promising to go into huge deficits with the war funding for their, war in a few years with Russia. From an oil standpoint, this is just an absolute disaster. And, I understand Trump's narrative on the whole, prices will drop. Yes, they will if the conflict ends. When's that? This was already supposed to be over by now. And it's not. There's no real reason it will. Now, you can debate the whole issue of how long can Iran last? Will they have to start shuttering wells? Yeah, that may all be true. Um, but fanatics will do things that defy logic. So, yeah, good luck with that one. That's It's not really what you want to be hanging your hat on, because the economic damage is real and it's going to persist. And this is something that, when it comes to a recession move, all these moves from the daily and everything are literally can be wiped out in 3 to 4 days. So bear that one in mind when you're thinking about this. You got to ride the wave while it's going. It's not going to stop anytime soon here, until something critical happens. And what are you going to do to force Iran to make a change? Blockade's great, but then again, we've all seen the stories from the Middle Ages on down as what it takes for a siege to work and how long they can be. Last months, years. Is this any different than that? So yes, okay, fine. You can make your argument about Iran not having nuclear weapons, but uh, you're going to have to convince a lot of people who are losing quite a bit of economic power that that's really worth it in their broader scheme of things. And you can talk about geopolitics all you want, but at the end of the day, um, it's all local. And whether you can afford your daily sustenance, things were in the right track, and this sort of like really put a major hiccup in that because, and as I've been talking about, when we were in the mid 60s, oil was still too high to really create a sustained move, and this isn't any better. So respect all the ideas and the concepts, but we're just talking about economics. And for now, market is strongly supportive of this at this particular point. Until we start getting our first changes in GDP and that, and yeah, and what's likely to happen is we're still going to end up with positive growth, but you just wouldn't understand how muted it is relative to what it could be had the energy costs not been what they are. And that's just the plain reality of it. So, but what do we care? We're following the readings. They're pretty straightforward. This doesn't take a whole lot of genius to see what to do. And, look at how perfect that is on a five. Cyan under red, and boom, literally follow that all the way across. I mean, it's the same concept. So whether it's the cyan under red, whether it's red over MBI white, whether it's the transition or magenta moving under, this just depends on how tight you want to get within a configuration. But from a broad stroke standpoint, yeah, we got it covered. No worries at all. As always, anything relevant, I will let you know on the team chat. If you didn't already get your indicators, let me know because things can start getting exciting here now that we get into the tailwinds of these things. Because now you're going to have to start putting up real numbers, or things are going to get real fun. As always, have a good one. Trade well.